Welcome back, folks. Which U.S. president famously said the business of America is business? Maury?
Calvin Coolidge, who reigned as president for 6 years. He was the vice president from Vermont, and you know Vermonters are known to say very little. And
maple syrup.
Exactly. Warren G. Harding, governor of Ohio, died for natural causes. Calvin Coolidge took over, then was elected in 1924, and he was elected in 1924. He started his own 4 years in March of 1925, which in those years was a March rather than in January. Anyway, he didn't only say the business of America is business, he made sure that business was freer then than ever had been before. And that's why the Roaring Twenties.
How? What do you mean he made sure?
Well, he gave any time business wanted to open up, and all those, there were no regulations hardly at all. I mean, the important thing is you provide for the American people, and as long as you do that, and we open up our ports to people. Imports weren't that important at that time, but we were starting to export. He did all the things that you would want a conservative businessman president to do.
They weren't putting a cap on your horse's carbon emissions.
No, nothing. Of course, he was asked to run in 1928, and they got Herbert Hoover instead after he said, I do not want to serve, and if I am nominated, I will not choose to run the country.
Do you think he saw the writing on the wall, or do you think he just had his time?
No,
and that goes back to a day and age when you actually served and then went home. It wasn't a career politician, correct?
No, I think he felt he had done his job. He thought he had the country was booming. He thought the momentum was there, and let somebody else implement what happened. He didn't realize that 10 months later there would be a stock market crash in October 1929, and which would be the first step for the whole world going into a deep depression.
So bad luck as it would be, the successor that comes in, he's not even in office a full year, and he experiences one of the worst crashes economically could possibly
But
happen
he was also a very incompetent president. He closed up, all the things that you should do, he didn't do, and what you shouldn't do, he didn't do.
Would he have won again, you think, if he ran?
Oh, yeah. There were everybody.
They loved him?
In those days, he allowed business to really run this country. That's really what happened. I mean, maybe to a fault. I'm not saying there were people who took advantage of it, but the point is we were doing great in the 1920s.
Okay, very good. Question of the day comes from Jack Berry from Mexico City. In August 1st, 2008, between August 1st and September 1st of 2008, the Dow lost 700 points. We know what happened in October, the crash of 2008. Do you see the same thing happening right now?
I don't. First of all, the markets today are pretty much controlled by professional traders.
But they weren't 7 years ago?
No. 7 years ago, what you had was there was too much money being spent on things that people couldn't afford. You had and you had the banking system that had loans out there that they couldn't possibly hope to collect on, and this, of course, spread throughout the world of top economic nations.
Okay, that wraps up another edition of the World Report. If you want to see the show again, catch us saying what that you missed, the easiest way is just go to our website, theworldreport.org. For Maury Beschloss and all those exceptional folks in the United States Armed Forces, police, firefighters, they all do exceptional work each and every day to help keep us safe. I'm Scott Crowfoot, and God willing, we'll see each other again.